The Delta variant tearing through the country as Dr. Fauci warns things are going to get worse. The daily average of new U.S. cases is over 72,000. That's up 532% since mid-June. And we're once again seeing long lines to get tested. This one is in hard-hit Florida. Meanwhile, Louisiana is reporting the highest infection rate in the country. Hospitalizations there are up nearly 500% from last month. Our Janae Norman is in New Orleans with the latest.
This morning, Delta variant cases spiking. In Chicago, hundreds of thousands of concertgoers crammed into Grant Park this weekend for Lollapalooza. Officials say 90% of attendees were vaccinated, but now they're monitoring for any possible COVID spread as the U.S. marks a troubling new milestone, recording more than 100,000 new COVID cases in a single day for the first time since February.
We're looking to some pain and suffering in the future because we're seeing the cases go up, which is the reason why we keep saying over and over again, the solution to this is get vaccinated.
The dangerous Delta variant, which spreads as easily as chickenpox, according to an internal CDC document obtained by ABC News. While just one person sick with the original strain of COVID-19 could easily infect an average of 2 to 3 people in close contact, with the Delta variant, that number could now be up to 9 people. 47 states and territories now categorized as areas with high or substantial community transmission. Florida reporting 21,000 COVID cases on Friday, its largest single-day increase since the pandemic began. And in Texas, there are now just 7 available ICU beds in Austin, a city with 2.3 million residents. And in Louisiana, hospitalizations are up nearly 500% in the last month. At the Children's Hospital in New Orleans, they went from 0 COVID patients at the beginning of the week to 20 by Thursday.
We have a premature infant in the neonatal ICU. In our PICU, we have a 23-month-old infant on a high-frequency oscillating ventilator. We've had 4 other teenagers, all unvaccinated, in the unit, and it's really taken a toll on everybody at this point.
Louisiana now reporting the highest infection rate in the country.
If this is happening here, especially in New Orleans with pretty good vaccination rates, it's going to happen everywhere.
Daryl Barker, a healthy 31-year-old who refused to get vaccinated, landed in a Missouri ICU with just a 20% chance of surviving, now fighting for his life as his wife and 6-year-old son watch through a window.
I was strongly against getting the vaccine just because we're a strong conservative family, but that little boy out there is a reason to have a vaccine.
Health officials tell me the threat of serious disease for children is a real concern right now. This hospital recently admitted 17 children in just a matter of days. This recent surge is overwhelming first responders here in New Orleans, where the mayor says they are unable to keep up with 911 calls. Diane?
Scary stuff. Janae Norman's in New Orleans. Thank you. And Louisiana is seeing this rise in cases, so much so that one hospital in Baton Rouge is reporting at least 1 new COVID patient being checked in every hour. Governor Bel Edwards is expected to announce a decision on whether to issue a statewide mask mandate later this afternoon. So let's bring in Director of the New Orleans Health Department, Dr. Jennifer Avegno, for more on this. Dr. Avegno, thanks so much for being here. I know you're busy, so we appreciate you taking the time. New Orleans was a hotspot in the early days of the pandemic. Some doctors at that point even said that it could be worse than Katrina. So how does this news surge compare to what you saw last year?
Well, in some ways it's worse, and in some ways it's better. You know, we were one of the hot spots and got hit at a time when very, very little was known about the virus transmission and what we needed to do to mitigate it. Now we're 16, 17 months later, and we know what to do. We know that masks work, and we know more critically that vaccines work. And so it's really disheartening to be back in a place, especially when New Orleans is really well vaccinated. We're over 70% of our eligible population vaccination. But that just shows that Delta is a different animal. It is far more contagious, and it is sickening those unvaccinated pockets in our city and state and overwhelming us just as if we were back in the beginning.
Now, how concerned are you about the high vaccine rate and yet the high hospitalizations you're seeing, and about the rise in hospitalizations in children, especially as they get ready to head back to school?
Well, what I'm seeing as not only the health director, but a practicing emergency physician, is that to a person, our unvaccinated are filling the hospitals. If you are hospitalized in Louisiana, it is 90% certain that you are unvaccinated. So this is something that easily could have been prevented. Now, for our children, we can't prevent that. We can't protect them yet with a vaccine. And so that's even more concerning. We have to do what we can until they can get protected as well.
And so do you worry about back to school season and how that's going to look given the Delta variant now and how we're seeing it spread?
It certainly couldn't come at a worse time, though I will say I appreciate the American Academy of Pediatrics and the CDC recommendations for universal masking in schools. We've seen our public schools here in New Orleans adopt that very early. I think that schools with universal masking will still likely be a safe place to be, and we all know that the benefits of in-person school are tremendous. However, it's up to the community to decide, how do we want school to go? Do we want to be plagued by frequent shutdowns of classes or schools, or do we want to do the right thing and get vaccinated so that we can prevent that?
Now, what kind of other restrictions are in place, not just school related, but businesses around town, et cetera, to try to mitigate the spread?
Well, I've been excited to see that so many of our businesses have stepped up on their own, not only with the indoor mask mandate, which we put in place on Friday, but several are requiring proof of vaccination or a negative test to enter, which is a really good idea right now. For us, we've still got restrictions on large gatherings. If you want to have a large gathering at 100% capacity, indoor or outdoor, everyone has to wear masks, or they could show proof of vaccination. So we never let our foot off the gas. We're just hoping that, again, with this renewed focus on vaccinations, on a short-term indoor mask mandate, we'll weather the worst of this.
And the governor is getting ready to announce whether there will be a new mask mandate in place. What do you think? Do you need more restrictions in Louisiana?
I think that right now, while it's taking time to build immunity, because remember, even if you get vaccinated today, it's a full 6 weeks until you have that protection, we need some short-term help. And we know that indoor masks work. We know that because Delta is so much more contagious, as you showed, we've got to do whatever we can to blunt the transmission. And so I think this is a very good, safe step if the governor chooses to take it.
So what's your message to other health departments about what they should be doing to try to prevent surges in their cities?
Well, I know in speaking to several of them that they're already worried about this. They're already seeing their numbers tick up. I would just say, don't assume that this is not going to happen to you. Delta is everywhere. It will go straight for your unvaccinated populations, and that will unfortunately spill over and cause, although mostly mild, infections in vaccinated individuals. So prepare for it. Do what you need to do to get your rates as high as possible to weather the storm.
All right, Dr. Jennifer Avegno, we so appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.